Welcome back at the Fireside with Jade. I'm your host, Jade Natasha Iriza, and I'm delighted to have you join us for another insightful episode. Today, we are diving into an important topic that explores paternity and maternity leave, which concerns the labor law. But we'll also look at positive masculinity and how challenging gender norms can improve the lives of women while addressing issues like gender-based violence. Joining us today is a remarkable guest, Fidele Rutayisire, the founder and executive director at the Rwanda Men's Resources Center. But before we begin our conversation, I would like to remind you to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on our social platforms to stay updated. Your support and engagement are invaluable in creating a more inclusive and progressive society. Welcome to the show, Fidele. Please start by introducing yourself to the audience and tell us why you were interested in creating something as RWAMREC.
Well, Fidele Rutayisire are my names, and I'm the executive director of the Rwanda Men's Resource Center, known as RWAMREC. I am a young father, and I'm a male champion, a he for she, and feminist.
Yes.
So I started RWAMREC because of many reasons, but one is about my personal passion. And of course, as a human rights activist, as a women's rights activist, I've seen how men are part of the problems to the society. And I said, instead of being part of the problems, they can also become part of the solution. Mm-hmm. And also men, since they don't take care of themselves, I wanted to help men to take care of themselves because, as you know, men don't seek help when they need help. Men don't go to the clinic when they are sick. Men don't show their emotions. And because of that, men are dying to be men. So then I said, let's put in place something which will help men to take care of themselves. Thank you.
And I'm always saying that the moment men are not okay or are not having some habits that are okay for themselves, then they do not just pose a problem to themselves, but to the entire society as well. So as someone who advocates for women myself, I think it's imperative that we have men who are healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally. Don't you agree?
I fully agree with you, because when men are harmed by their negative masculinity perceptions or practices, not only they are harmed, but they also have negative consequences on their families and the society in general. You know, when men are in prisons, the whole society, the family, the whole society is suffering. The whole country is suffering. When men die in a road accident because of their masculinity behaviors, many are getting negatively impacted.
True. Okay, so let's jump right into today's topic. Fidele, I'm sure you are aware that recently Rwanda extended maternity leave for mothers to 2 additional weeks and paternity leave for fathers to 3 more days, reaching the minimum recommended by the International Labour Organization. What do you think about this development, and do you believe that it is enough?
Well, thank you. First of all, I'm aware, and because we have been advocating for this, and of course, as you said, it's just the minimum. And as a gender activist, we should not aim at having the minimum. To me, it's a good start, but it is not enough. Yeah. So let me give you some data showing you how we should not be happy about this slow move.
Please do.
There is a report from the McKinsey Global Institute on Gender Parity in Africa, which says that gender inequality in Africa remains high. And the progress towards gender parity actually seems to be stagnating. And that is a big concern to us in the gender equality field. So the report of McKinsey has estimated that if countries across Africa achieved full gender parity, overall annual GDP would rise by 34% across the continent by 2025. And this is equivalent to 2.51 billion in Rwanda. Mm-hmm. And the report also shows that if we do not do nothing, actually, if we do nothing, we are going to lose $316 billion. And if we do something, we are going to add $316 billion to the GDP of Africa. So imagine these $316 billion added to our GDP would happen by 2025. So 2025 is very soon from now. And to me, I believe that we are not moving quickly. So for me, I believe that the extension of maternity and paternity leave that does not adequately support parents in a way we advocated for, because in Rwanda we had advocated for at least 6 months of maternity leave and 1 month of paternity leave. So now the solution, the 7 days allocated to fathers, to me it is very small, and I was not really very happy.
I get you. And those are very interesting numbers that you have there. And that makes me wonder, what do you think would make a gender parity exactly? Is it, for example, if we say that women get 4 months of maternity leave, then men also should get 4 months of paternity leave? Is that what would mean by gender parity? Or what exactly would you think could be considered?
Well, actually, by gender parity, we mean that there should be no inequality, no discrimination, no, for instance, no inequality like in pay gap, no inequalities in women's leadership, in access to education, access to finance, in sport. Like you see the way, for instance, we treat people in sport. There is huge gender pay gap. The way, for instance, men are paid in sport is totally higher than the way we pay women. That is a gender pay gap. The way we, for instance, we treat women in construction or in road construction is far away different from the way we treat men. So those are inequalities. When you look at, for instance, access to education, we still have gaps. So those are the inequalities that I'm talking about. And that's why McKinsey was saying that if we don't do something, we are losing billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, according to you, how long would perfect paternity leave be?
Sorry, come again?
According to you, what would a perfect or adequate paternity leave be? Is it 3, 2 weeks? What is it?
Well, to me, of course, the ideal duration of maternity and paternity leave can vary based on cultural, societal, and economic factors of a country, because countries are at different levels in terms of cultural, economic factors. But in Rwanda, we had advocated for at least 6 months for maternity leave and 1 month for paternity leave, because we believe that those could really make a difference. But of course, our voice has not been heard 100%.
Let's just look at the benefits of what would be if what you had suggested had happened. Can you elaborate on how a longer paternity leave could help remove some parental biases that we still see in our society, and would promote gender equality within the household?
Yes, of course, a longer paternity leave does remove parental stereotypes and promote also gender equality in many ways. One, for instance, in terms of equal sharing of child care responsibilities, the longer paternity leave gives fathers the opportunity to be more engaged in caregiving from the early stages of a child's life. And also this helps establish a culture of shared responsibilities between parents. But at the same time, it challenges traditional gender roles and expectations. Because as you know, for instance, in the Rwandan context, what it means to be a man, of course, this is negative. A real man should not take care of children. A real man should not go with his wife at the clinic. And these stereotypes, we are working hard to dismantle them. So now, when fathers are given longer paternity leave, they have opportunity to be engaged in sharing child care responsibilities. So the second element is that when fathers take long-term paternity leave, there is change in perception, because it challenges societal norms and perceptions about caregiving. For instance, it sends a powerful message that fathers are also capable and responsible for childcare as mothers, and this breaks down stereotypes and biases. But also there is a work-life balance for both parents, because longer paternity leave allows fathers to actively participate in parenting without compromising their careers. And this helps both parents to balance work and family life, but at the same time, it reduces the burden on mothers to be the primary caregivers. As you know, in many countries, including Rwanda, mothers are the primary caregivers. So we really want, if we want to achieve the true gender equality, we need to engage fathers in caregiving. And one of the shortcuts to reach this goal is to provide longer paternity leave to fathers. And another reason is that longer paternity leave builds strong parent-child relationships, because increased time spent by fathers during paternity leave fosters actually stronger bonds with their children, and this sets the foundation for ongoing active involvement in the life of the child, of course, with the aim of promoting emotional closeness and understanding. So as far as the normalization of gender equality is concerned, when longer paternity leave becomes more common, it also contributes to the normalization of gender equality within the household. Because children, for instance, grow up when they are observing both parents sharing responsibilities, sharing unpaid care work, household activities, and this shapes their expectations for equitable partnership in the future. Yes, there are also many other reasons. For instance, about the positive impact on mothers' careers, empowerment of women, reducing stigma and discrimination, impact on the future generation, the cultural and social change, and so on and so forth.
And something we forget to talk about sometimes is that when a baby comes in the life of a couple, and then the mother literally has to stop everything about her life to focus on the new baby, but the father goes about as normal in his life, there is created some sort of animosity between them, where the mother feels like, oh my God, my life stopped, but yours kept going as if nothing happened. So do you think parental leave or paid parental leave for the fathers could be one way to tackle that, and as well as contribute to the maternal well-being and better health outcomes for both parents in their relationship?
Oh, very much. When fathers are given longer term paternity leave, and when they get engaged in the household activities, it contributes actually to also to the health of the mother, but also to the health of the child, but also to the health of the father, because there is it also prevents conflict in family, and it reduces, for instance, for mothers who work. When mothers have small babies, when they are in maternity leave, and even after the maternity leave, I don't know whether you have seen this, they many times request for sick leaves. So now, when fathers get longer term paternity leave, it reduces sick leaves of mothers, and it even increases the economic element for gender equality. So there are many benefit for instance, maternal health and recovery. As you know, childbirth is physically demanding, and mothers need time to recover from the process, because longer maternity leave allows mothers to heal, to regain their strength, to address any postpartum health issues. But also when fathers are engaged, when they are involved, they also benefit from many ways. Yes.
I agree. And I like to hear it from a man's perspective, because it brings a fresh perspective for me. So do you think that when you were talking, you also mentioned that this promotes the parent-child bonding between the father and their new baby. Do you think you can shed more light on the importance of fathers having extended time to bond with their newborns and actively engage in their caregiving? You can talk about from your personal experience, since you said you are a young dad. Tell us, please, how it goes about it.
Yes. There are many advantages, and there is it is very important for fathers to have extended time to bond with their newborns and to actively engage in caregiving. I will give you many reasons. One is about bonding and attachment. Early bonding between fathers and newborn is essential for building strong emotional connections. Let me give you my own experience. I have a young, no, a 3 years daughter, and when I take time to bathe her, I feel satisfied. I feel connected, and she also feels very happy. She can speak easily. She can grow easily. She can even develop her emotional connections with me, and this lays the foundation for a healthy parent-child relationship and fosters the child overall emotional well-being. So another importance is that is about positive child development. When a father is engaged in caregiving, this contributes to a child cognitive, emotional, and social development because it exposes children to different caregiving styles and perspectives, enriching their understanding of the world. You see?
I get
so
you.
in brief, fathers extended time to bond with their newborns and actively engage in caregiving has multi-faced benefits that ripple through families, communities, and societies because it nurtures healthier family dynamics, it nurtures children's development, it promotes gender equality, and it sets the stage for positive lifelong relationship. Thank you.
Oh, Sasa, the thing is, some people may think that not only fathers do not need these extended parental leaves, but they also don't want it. As someone who is a man yourself, but you also talk to other men, do you think this is true?
Well, we did actually a study on the state of Rwandan fathers. We interviewed many people, including young. We interviewed men, interviewed women. Overall, there is a mixture of perceptions around paternity leave and maternity leave. One, for instance, young people from Nyagatare thought that it is not needed. But couples from Musanze said that it is very much needed because it would increase their bond and their connection to their families. And of course, this has an explanation because in Musanze, we have a gender transformative program which engages men and their couples to be involved in maternal health, child health, newborn, caregiving, and violence prevention. The program is called Bande Bereho, which means role model. And where we have reached, because of these gender transformative sessions, people, men and women have been transformed. They know the importance of it. But generally, people, including men and women who are against this, are the ones who are still in the negative gender box. Those are the ones who still have rigid gender norms, who still have negative masculinity and femininity perceptions. And that's why among measures to promote this paternity leave and maternity leave, we need also to work around transforming these perceptions of men and women. Thank you.
You just made an interesting point. You said that sometimes it is the women who still hold on into some rigid stereotypes. And so sometimes people would say that the biggest enemy to gender equality is women. So from a man's perspective, what would be your advice to the women who are still holding on to this old mindsets that even men are also trying to get from? What would you want to see in our society being improved?
Well, these women who also still have negative femininities, they are actually the victims of the patriarchal society. They are also victims of the way the society expects men and women to behave. So that's why when we are working on transforming masculinity norms and femininity norms, we should not only focus on men, because when men change while women don't change, nothing works. So that's why we have multiple approaches to transform these masculinities. So we work with men in their diversities. For instance, we have what we call men engaged clubs, where we work with men only, but we have learned that we cannot only change men when women are not also transformed. So that's why we also have women safe spaces to also discuss critically about their roles, their behaviors, their attitudes, and also help them to go through a journey of transformation to be positive women, to be empowered women who also need to promote their rights. Thank you.
So even women have a lot of things to do. So do you have any additional thoughts or recommendations regarding paternity and maternity leave that you would like to share?
Yes. First of all, there are many advantages for fathers who are engaged in caregiving. So there is long-term well-being, because fathers who are engaged in caregiving tend to experience increased life satisfaction and reduced levels of stress. And this benefits their mental and emotional well-being, positively impacting their overall quality of life. And of course, I also have some recommendations regarding paternity and maternity leave. For instance, I would recommend to our policymakers, to our government, to establish national care policies and campaigns that recognize, reduce, and redistribute care work equally between men and women. Secondly, I would recommend to expand social protection programs to redistribute care equally between men and women who are unemployed, but also who are working in the informal sector, while keeping a focus on the needs and rights of women and girls. Three, I would recommend to hold male political leaders accountable for their support of care policies while advocating for women's equality in political leadership. Four, I would recommend to revolutionize the way our boys are taught about care. So we need to start from the younger age to promote emotional connection and expression, to reframe masculinity and boyhood as caring and valuing care, because this means that engaging parents, teachers, peers, and coaches, and providing hands-on opportunities for boys to learn and practice care. This is very important. Five, we need to make more paid parental leave days available for men, getting to equal paid and substantial parental leave for all parents. We recommend, by the way, still 14 weeks for both parents as a minimum and a non-transferable portion for fathers. And last but not least, our government, not only the government of Rwanda, but government in Africa, government in the world, must work to ensure the distribution of paid parental leave across diverse income groups and employment categories, including informally employed workers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fidele, for sharing all those incredible and very important recommendations. I hope actually that people will pick this up and make an implementation upon them, because I can hear how passionate you are as you speak. I can hear how you are feeling very strongly about this, and I commend that, and it inspires me myself. So thank you very much. Now, before I let you go, what's one thing you want our listeners to remain with after this episode? Basically, a takeaway, and then I let you go by your day.
Well, one thing is that we must be caring. And we have many benefits to be engaged in care work. And paternity leave is very important because it is a game change in terms of promoting gender equality. So this is very important, and I call upon fathers, men in their diversities to really care about care work, because we all need to be balanced, we all need to live longer, we all need to be mentally stable, and when we are engaged in care work, we all benefit. Thank you very much.
Thank you again. So keep up with your work at the Rwanda Men's Resource Center. This is very instrumental in promoting positive masculinity and pushing for gender equality. It makes sense when women are advocating for their own empowerment, but it hits different when men are joining the alliance and are our allies, and that they're advocating for things like positive masculinity. So you are a game changer in society, Fidele. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We actually need gender equality, and gender equality also need us men. So thank you very much.
As we wrap up this episode, I encourage our listeners to engage with us by sharing their thoughts, experiences, and questions on these important issues. Together, we can create a society that supports and values the roles of fathers in nurturing their children while challenging gender norms. Once again, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our remarkable guest, Fidele Rutayisire, and to all of you for being part of At the Far Side with me. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on our social platforms to stay updated. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we will continue making sense of Rwanda's public policies in the way they relate to women's rights and empowerment. Remember, you belong here if you want to see that becoming a reality. Together, let's work toward positive transformation. Until our next podcast, please take care.